welcome to my channel. I'm Stasia and I've recently lost over 20 pounds in about 2 months following a plant-based diet. So today's video, I just want to touch on 11 different tips that I personally use to get this weight off, that I'm still using, and that you can definitely use as well if you are trying to lose weight. I actually had some fun putting this list together because I really had to kind of dig deep and really think about some of the changes that I've made to start losing this weight. And it was really, really nice for me because I was able to see kind of how far I have come in this weight loss journey and just how many changes I personally made. So, with that being said, as much as it's nice to get the weight off, it's also really nice to kind of see how far you've come, right? Especially if you've felt stuck for a while, which in my case, I have felt stuck for quite some time, years, if I'm being honest, kind of up and down in my weight. And finally things are moving. I finally feel like, the magic is happening. So it is really nice to kind of stop and look back and see what I've done to actually get things going. And now I kind of feel like I have a map, I have a formula that works. So, hopefully not, but if at any point down the road I lost my way, I feel like I finally got it now. I would easily be able to find my way back. And that map or path that I've created is exactly what I want to share on my channel as I'm losing this weight, so that it can not only help me, but it can help you as well. So listen, if you are on a plant-based weight loss journey, or really any weight loss journey yourself, or if you're on the road to better health, then be sure to hit the subscribe button if you like health and weight loss content following a plant-based diet, because I will be uploading my whole experience here and sharing everything I'm doing so that you can benefit from it as well. And one last thing, I've been running a really awesome book sale. My summer special has been $5 on all of my weight loss recipe ebooks, and that even includes my bundle package, which is both of my books. So it's totaling over 80 oil-free plant-based recipes, all super simple recipes, all super simple ingredients. I'm confident you will find a handful in there that will help you get this weight off, help you enjoy your food, and get you to a place of better health. So if you haven't grabbed a copy already and you'd like to take advantage of that $5 sale, then I will have the link to my books posted in my description box below. Okay, so number one, and this one, if I'm being honest, I hated doing, but I did it anyways, and I'm glad I did, and I really encourage you to do the same, and that is to take pictures. Now, I know when we're not feeling at our optimal weight, maybe we don't love exactly what's looking back at us in the mirror, but just take them anyways, because you will be so blown away by seeing your before once you get to the after. I'm not even exactly where I need to be, where I want to be, but even just seeing the changes that even just over 20 pounds has made is incredible, and it's shocking. But what it is most importantly is it's motivating. I think for the most part, we're very visual creatures. So when you actually see the magic happening in front of you, it really keeps you feeling motivated and like, hey, I'm doing something right. So let's just keep on doing it. But that's not even the best part or my best point. So for those of you who don't know, there is a way to take your before pictures and store them in your phone so that you never have to worry about anyone else seeing them. So I know for me, this was something that deterred me from ever wanting to take, the before pictures. My husband and I share pictures all the time, or, even just flipping through my phone and just showing family photos and stuff I want to share with other people. And sometimes you don't want certain photos seen by just anybody. So in my case, those were my before pictures. So I have an Android. I'm not sure how it works in iPhone, so I can't be super helpful that way, but I know that they have the same option. So there's a secret folder in the Samsung phones. A quick Google search, a quick YouTube video, you can find out how to do it. It is super, super easy. Basically, there is a password in this specific file that only can be accessed if you know the password, and you can transfer any photos that you take on your phone into this file on your phone. So it is safe and sound. Nobody else can have access to them. Only you. So this was golden for me when I figured out that I can do this, because now I feel more free and more safe to take these types of photos that are not my best photos, but very necessary. And now I have them in a collection that I can refer back to. So if your reason before for not taking the before photos was in deathly fear of someone else coming across them, then fear not, because now there is a solution. But I cannot stress enough how important and how nice it is to have those before pictures as the weight starts coming off. Okay, so practical tip number 2 is have your own cupboard space or just some type of space for your food that is just for you. And I have talked about this before in some of my older videos. It's something that I'm still doing. My husband and I eat completely different. Like, I mean, you can't find two people that eat more different than me and my husband. It's that bad. Like, it's actually comical and we laugh about it often. But it's just to demonstrate that it is possible to live in a house with other people that don't eat the way that you eat and still be successful. So this is actually one of my favorite practical tips because it does two things. One, it keeps your food separate and not a free-for-all for just anyone to eat, you know, what you have bought specifically to help you stay on track. And two, what it does is that it allows you to not have to see the other stuff. You know, if my husband has bought chips or junk food, you know, chocolate bars, anything like that, I don't have to see it because seeing it is when it gets tricky a little bit, right? So if we can eliminate in even the smallest ways, having to be tempted or just having to feel bad about not having something, if you really feel to have something in that moment, you know, it just helps to keep you on track to not see it at all. His cupboard set up with all his goodies and snacks and stuff like that, I don't even open that door. I don't even open it. And right beside it is mine. And I have all of my stuff. And believe me, he doesn't really care to open mine at all because there's nothing in there that he's going to want. So I just find that this works out really, really well, especially if you're living with someone who does not eat like you. Okay, so practical tip number 3 is to have at least 1 or 2 things that you really enjoy. Like, I mean that you actually get excited about when you think of eating it. So for me, right now, currently, those 2 things for me are my fiber protein shakes, which I've talked a lot about in my most recent videos. I attribute a lot of my weight loss to those shakes because they're just so delicious. So 1, I'm really excited to eat them. And 2, because they keep me super full. So it's a double whammy with those bad boys and I love them. But I do love the taste because I got my vanilla flavor, I got my chocolate flavor, and it's all healthy stuff. So I'm not having to eat that chocolate bar or, you know, chocolate cake or vanilla cake or anything like that because I have this. Secondly is some mocktails, and I'm going to be showing a few of those on my channel in my upcoming What I Eat in a Day videos because I really think that it's important to enjoy our food. This is a lifestyle. I'm committed to eating this way for the rest of my life. So I gotta make it enjoyable. And so do you if you wanna stick to it and be happy sticking to it, right? Because this is life and we need to enjoy ourselves. So for me, I've been really playing around with mocktails. I don't drink alcohol personally. I used to, not anymore, and I haven't for many years. But that doesn't mean that I don't like to have, you know, a delicious tasting drink that I wouldn't ordinarily have. It is nice to have something exciting to look forward to, especially if you're in a social setting. There's lots of holidays coming up, you know, when you have friends and family over, or even if you go out to dinner. Sometimes it's nice just to have something that's not going to really throw you completely off track, not completely unhealthy either. And, you know, it's something that you can enjoy. So the mocktails are not something I have every day by any means, but on a Saturday or maybe a Friday night, my husband and I have been getting creative about making some mocktails that are super low fat, super flavorful, and something I'm really excited about. So you know what, I've had a really good week of eating and I'm feeling great. I don't even have to ruin it by having one of these, but at the same time, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. Now, those are just my 2 current things that I'm really excited about. They don't have to be yours, but the point is to find at least 1 or 2 things that, you know, you can just be thinking about when you're at work and, oh, I'm gonna have one of those when I get home, or I'm gonna have one of those on the weekend. These things should still be designed to keep you on track, but just maybe something, you know, a little different than what you normally would have. Or in my case, the shakes, I have them almost every day, but I'm not tired of them and I really, really love them. So whatever it is, just be excited about it and make sure it's something you enjoy. And the point of doing this is so that we don't feel like we're on some type of diet or that we're so restricted that it's just healthy, healthy, healthy all day long. I'm a firm believer that healthy food can taste delicious as well. So it doesn't have to be an all or nothing situation. Well, I'm eating healthy, but I'm not enjoying my food or my life, you know, or I'm splurging and eating everything I shouldn't be eating, but I'm not enjoying my state of health or my weight. Doesn't have to be like that. I really firmly believe it can be a combination of both, but sometimes it just requires a little thinking and a little effort to find those foods that you truly will be excited about while still eating healthy. Okay, so my next practical tip was that I focused on being more proud of my consistency rather than the number on the scale. So for a lot of us, I think we get really wrapped up about, how much weight we've lost, how fast we've lost it, and we're really hyper focused on the details, Did I eat perfectly today? Was this meal perfect? We really get wrapped up and hung up on those details, and that can actually end up throwing us completely off track when we do that, because we get into this all or nothing mentality and this perfectionism type of mode that we never realistically had prior to jumping into this lifestyle, if we're being honest. So I stopped doing that. Instead, I would get really excited about how consistent I've been. Okay, so it's been a week that I haven't touched anything processed at all. That's super amazing. I would really start to focus on those small things that I was doing on repeat, because weight loss doesn't happen overnight. We all know that. That's not just a saying. It's true. It really doesn't happen overnight. It's really the consistency that you need to focus on and reward yourself, whether that's actually something that, I'm going to go buy myself a new shirt, or, I'm going to do something fun with my husband at the end of this month if I stay consistent with this and this and this. So you can reward the consistency and just forget about the number altogether. Forget about the weight loss altogether, because our bodies can be funny sometimes anyways. It can be up, it can be down, it can be water weight, it can be that time of month. We could have just had too much salt in our meals the day before. There's a multitude of reasons that it could be that, the weight doesn't really seem like it's just flying off of you. So instead of focusing on that, the best thing you can do is just focus on the consistency of what you're doing and really hype yourself up about that. Be really proud of yourself for that, because that is the hardest part of losing weight, is staying consistent. And I also think it's really easy to come down pretty hard on ourselves when we're not being perfect or not doing things the way that we think we should be doing them. So just remember, it's equally important, actually not equally important, it's more important to remember to congratulate yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back, figuratively speaking. Like, it's really important, and I don't know why it's so easy for us to forget that part of it, right? So try not to forget that part of it. Get yourself hyped up, be super excited, be super proud of yourself when you are consistent. I don't care if it's just one day that you are consistent with what you set out to do. 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, 1 month, whatever it is, focus on the consistency. And we're gonna slide into my next practical tip from that one, and that is about weighing yourself. So for me, I've never been one to really want to weigh myself every single day. I've had periods like that in my past where I did step on the scale every day, and I didn't really find that was helpful for me. It was just more stressful, or I would just be even that much harder on myself if I didn't like what I saw. So how I've been doing it this time is to just kind of sporadically, weigh myself or whatever, probably once every 2 weeks or 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks. I don't know. There is no set date, but on the flip side of that, I do also think it is important to check in sometimes on your weight, just to get an idea that things are moving in the right direction. Because if they're not, then that does give you a little bit of information that maybe there are a few things that you need to tweak. So for me, my happy medium is check in every so often to make sure that, I'm still going in the right direction. Don't obsess over it. Don't obsess even over the number. Just as long as I'm not going backwards, I'm good. So that's the most important thing for me. And trust me when I say, when you start losing weight, there's going to be so many other exciting things other than the number on the scale. Really, when your clothes start feeling a bit looser, you physically start to see some changes in your body. That to me is way more exciting than whatever the heck the scale is saying. Okay, so my next practical tip, and I did touch on this in one of my other recent videos, is to stop eating in moderation. Now, for a long time, I told myself, oh, everything in moderation. We've all heard it. Now, for some people, that might work. So I am no expert by any means. I am just sharing what worked for me and what didn't work for me. And eating in moderation did not work for me. Eating in moderation is probably what kept me kind of yo-yoing for quite some time, because I never really thought that, a little bit of this or a little bit of that, really made that big of a difference. But for me, it really, really did. So when I really decided that I'm really just not going to have it, I'm not going to finish my kids' plates or dip into their snacks, or eat while I'm cooking, And all of these things that I used to do in moderation, I just stopped doing them. So this may not be the case for everybody. You need to do what is best for you, what is best for your body. This is just what I've been doing. And as soon as I stopped eating things in moderation and just stopped eating them at all, that is when I really started to see things happen. Okay, so my next practical tip is always eat before you leave the house. Now, this is something that I really try hard to do. I'm pretty good at doing it. I mean, there might be those one-off times that I didn't really know I was leaving or I just didn't have enough time and I try to wing it. And let me tell you, every single time I regret doing that. But for the most part, I'm pretty good about that. My family can attest to that. I'm always bringing something in my bag with me to go because that's the only way to really be okay when you're out of the house and you're really, hyper focused on your goals and really trying to eat healthy. I have to make sure that I eat before I go because once I get out there, one, there's so many temptations with all the different, fast food places around. And when you're starving, you just don't think straight. Even just going to the grocery store, they say never go to the grocery store when you're hungry, and that's for good reason. So I always try to prepare myself by having something to eat before I leave. And I guess I already mentioned the next tip. It was kind of tied into that one, and that is to bring something with you. So if you don't have time to eat before you go, then make sure you have something with you, or both. In fact, a lot of times I will eat before I go and also bring something if I know I'm gonna be out of the house for, more than an hour or so, that I always have something in my bag that will at least tide me over until I can get back home. Okay, so the next tip is to learn to be comfortable with non-compliant food around you. And I say this with love, but the harsh reality is that we have to get comfortable with that because guess what? We live in a world that it will always be around us. So I've heard other people suggest stop going out with your friends, don't go out to dinner with your family. All these crazy things, that sounds crazy to me. This is life. So what are you gonna do? Never see your friends who don't eat like you? Like I just explained earlier in the video, my own husband doesn't even eat like me and I live with him. So what am I gonna do in that situation, right? So it is without question, we are going to have to learn to adapt to be in a world where there's constant, temptations around us, constant food that we're not interested any longer in eating, and we need to get comfortable with being uncomfortable sometimes. I can't tell you how many times now that I went out for dinner with my friends and family, or I've been to festivals where there's all kinds of delicious food, around me. All I can smell is the food, the treats, the desserts, all of this. I've had family get-togethers at my own home where everyone else is eating different food than me, ordering pizza, all these types of things. Guess what? I have to get comfortable with that, and so there's little ways to do that. And one of them, the biggest one, is making sure that I'm not hungry because everything is worse in those scenarios when you're hungry. So my hack is just make sure that I am not hungry, or when I know this stuff is coming, I just better prepare for it. So I either make myself something that is compliant, but that I'm really excited about, going back to that. Or I make sure that I have a nice full tummy so this food doesn't really affect me. But my friends and family are really, really understanding. And a lot of times they check with me to say are you sure? You're sure you're okay? You don't want to order anything when we're out? And I'm like, honestly, it doesn't bother me at all. I've really turned it off. And I wasn't always that way. So keep that in mind. It would have really bothered me at one point. But I guess just in my mind, I'm so focused at feeling well and, and looking good and feeling the best version of myself that I really don't care about the food. I guess you could say that, the food is starting to lose its power over me. And that didn't happen overnight, but it is happening over time with the consistency of those things that I'm doing. My husband took me out for a date night this past Saturday night, and we were sitting on a patio and, they had brought him some spinach dip and really delicious deep fried pitas to go with it and everything. And he was, checking in with me. He's like, are you sure you're okay with that? And I said to him, I'm like, listen, I don't feel bad about that food. What I would feel bad about is feeling bad if I ate that food. Really, truly. I feel good as long as I'm feeling good. That's just kind of my motto. I don't need any of that food to make me feel good. I feel great without it. I feel better without it, in fact. And, it didn't take away from having a nice night out with my husband. It was a beautiful night outside. We had some great conversation. We were dressed up, So I really encourage you to eat with your friends, eat with your families, go out, hang out. Do not try to avoid these things simply because you eat different from somebody. So just learn to get comfortable sometimes with being uncomfortable, and it gets easier with time, I promise. Okay, so we're almost there. So the next thing that I've started doing that I haven't done in quite some time actually is to start listening to music again, like really listening to it. So, I used to be the kind of girl that I knew every single song, like the newest song that was out. I loved going out with my friends. I loved dancing. Like I was always on top of it. So call me old now, I guess. That's what's happening with age. So be it. But, there's a time and place for everything. But embarrassingly so, I have really fallen off of the whole music trend, what's good, what's not, and rarely listen to music because I find that I'd much rather be watching one of my shows, YouTube, or listening to a podcast or something. So anyways, I've recently made a new playlist, or should I say an old school playlist, of all my old music that were some of my favorite songs. And it really does something for you. It really keeps you feeling, I don't know, like the younger version of yourself or something. It really puts a pep in your step, and it really gets me excited to actually start moving my body again, which is my last practical tip. I have started moving my body more with my new music playlist, but not in the way that you probably think. I am not going to the gym and doing any hardcore workout routines, anything like that, because I'm just not mentally there yet. But as I've said in some of my previous videos, because of how healthy I've been eating, I feel like the juicing gives me a lot of energy. I've been eating a lot of raw fruits and vegetables along with my starches. I feel like I have a ton of energy compared to before. So when that starts happening, it's funny how you kind of start to feel like you want to start exercising and move your body more, and that's what's happening. So no, I'm not running tracks or lifting heavy weights at the gym by any means, but at this point, I will start just to kind of like flex my abs when I'm washing the dishes. I've been doing a few squats here and there. I even took out my jump rope, and even though it killed me because I was not ready for that, but I did a few minutes of jumping rope just in my living room, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to get into the groove of starting to move my body a bit more. And that's not just to accelerate weight loss. That is to make sure that I'm toning up my body. And just because I know that exercising is so good for us. So I don't want to be the old version of myself where, I just write off exercising because I'm too lazy to do it and because I don't like doing it. It's got to be one of those things similar to the way I eat. It's just something I have to do because I know that that's going to get me to the best version of myself. So I'm starting very small. Maybe one day, who knows, there might be a gym membership somewhere in my future, but today's not that day. So I'm just going to do it in very small baby steps and see where it takes me. All right, everyone, so that's what I've got for today's video. If you've made it this far, I hope you have found some type of value in today's video. I hope that maybe 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 of these things that I've suggested, you can start applying to your own weight loss journey, and I really hope that they help you like they've helped me. I have been feeling so good, so pumped, so motivated, and just so excited to share it with all of you because I know you guys get it. We're all in the same, we're all in the same path, we're all in the same journey, and you guys are my community. It's just not the same explaining these things to my husband who is not part of this community and just doesn't get it. I'm sure he is happy for me and he loves to see me excited and stuff, but it's just not the same. I know you guys actually enjoy hearing the possibilities of what a plant-based diet can do, both for health and weight loss. So I love sharing it. I just really do. So with that being said, if you liked today's video, be sure to give it a thumbs up for me. I would really appreciate that. And you can also leave it in the comments below which one you would like to try or something that maybe you're already doing to get things moving with your weight loss journey. So thanks so much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to check out that awesome book sale. The link will be in the description box below, and we will see all of you in the next one.